Here I will discuss about the sulfonamides and its related drug. Sulfonamide, these are the most important types of antibiotic, and these are the derivatives of sulfonamide. These sulfonamides are the derivatives of sulfonamide. This is the discovery of the sulfonamide was done by the scientist Domek, and this is the scientist who did the discovery of the sulfonamide. Sulfonamides were discovered by the scientist Domek. He did the experiment by use of frontosyl red dye. This is the dye which is used by the scientist Domek, and he did experiment in vivo as well as in vitro. Both types of studies he did, and he found that there is the action of frontosyl red on the bacteria, and in vitro was no action, and it does not affect the bacteria, whereas but in vivo there is the effect of frontosyl red. But at that time he's known that the action of this antimicrobial action was because of the frontosyl red, but later he did more studies when he thought that the action of this is not because of the frontosyl red. In this frontosyl red there was a chemical whose name is sulfonamide. This is the active constituent which is present in this frontosyl red, and this is responsible for the antimicrobial activity. And in vivo, here the actions is shown by this, whereas in vitro there is no action. This is because in vitro in human there is an enzyme which damage this, break down this bond. This is the diazo bond which is responsible for the antimicrobial. This diazo bond is break by the enzymes in vivo, whereas in vitro there was no enzymes, so it does not break and does not shows the action, any type of action, antimicrobial action. But in vivo this enzyme is present which is responsible for the breakdown of this diazo bond. So this diazo bond is breakdown in this frontosyl red structure is breakdown into two forms. One is this and another is this, whose name is sulfonamide. This is the active constituent which is responsible for the antimicrobial activity. And so as we all know that in vitro there is no action, and in vivo there is the action just because of the breakdown of the diazo bond, and active constituent is sulfonamide. Okay, now here I will talk about the classification of sulfonamide. The classification of sulfonamides can be done to two types according to the duration of action. This is the type of classification in which we will divide the sulfonamides according to their duration of action, whether the short acting, long acting, or intermediate. So in this type, and another is according to the uses. So uses according how did we define the types of uses in which the drugs according. So first here we will discuss the according to the duration of action. So according to duration of action, the sulfonamides are grouped into three. It is short acting, another is intermediate acting, and this is the long acting. The short acting whose action is for 4 to 8 hours, and intermediate whose action is for 8 to 12 hours, and last is whose action is for more than 7 days. This is the highly acting sulfonamide drugs. So first drug is according to short acting. So there are two drugs in short acting drug whose action is 4 to 8 hours. First is sulfadiazine and another sulfasoxazole. Out of these two drugs, sulfasoxazole is highly soluble in urine and have low toxicity, and it eliminates easily through the kidney and shows less adverse effect than the all other sulfonamide drugs. And then the other is intermediate is sulfamethoxazole, whose action is 8 to 12 hours. This is the intermediate drug, and the last is long acting drug. In this long acting drug there are three drugs. One is sulfamethopyrazine, sulfadoxine, sulfadimethoxin, where sulfadidoxin, this drug is the highly long acting drug out of all three drugs. In the sulfonamide, this is the highly long drug and effective. Here we have completed the sulfonamides classification, and I will tell you another classification according to the uses.